Hey everybody, welcome to Simple Start. This program is developed by yours truly, and it's kind of been on my heart to do something like this for a long time. It's started because a lot of times I ask people, people ask me, I just don't know where to start, Adri. I don't know how to begin XYZ. I always have this problem, yada, yada, yada. And it's always, there's just so much information out there in the interwebs. A lot of times it is an oil question or doTERRA. I don't know where to start. But it's more than that, and it's broader than that. I'm very open in sharing my motherhood journey, wife journey, a lot of things. So then if I say something, that I'll get this message. Like, I just don't know where to start in my marriage. I just don't know where to start in my whatever. And so I'm very practical. I'm a very practical talking hands person. And so I thought maybe this is what God's calling me to do right now, is to answer in these small ways. I don't have it all together on any of the topics I'm going to be sharing, but I wanted to share what is working for me, what I've learned, what doesn't work, and hopefully something will inspire you. I would love to hear your thoughts on all of these topics. Message me, email me, write in the comments, whatever is comfortable for you, and share your story, because people matter, right? And that's something my mom always told me, is people matter, Adri. Listen to their stories, listen to their heart. You are wonderful and beautiful. You're made in God's image. Okay, more on that on the self-esteem Simple Start, real self-esteem. But I wanted to do this little mini video to get our mindset right, get our mindset on track. With that, our theme verse for the entire series is Galatians 6:9. So please memorize it. Not every unit will have a verse associated. Some will have several. But this one is just a really great encouragement to me, not only as a woman, but as a mom, especially, because there's lots of things we have to do over and over and over and over and over and over and over. But the Bible tells us, Galatians 6:9, and let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. And that's English Standard Version. And that's important, right? Because there's a season for things. And I think when feel like we're drowning, definitely if you're a mom, you understand that immediate postpartum time, or, your little's 2 years old, or they're a teenager, or whatever stage of life. Sometimes you can feel like you're drowning, and to recognize and remember and be encouraged, it's a season. It won't last forever. It's a season. Cling to Christ. Cling to Christ. Don't grow weary, okay? You will reap. Continue doing good. Continue teaching those little souls and instilling those good things into your children and into your marriage, right? Because that'll return with a harvest, hopefully a bountiful harvest. We need to not give up. All right. A secondary verse chunk would be 1 Corinthians 9:24 through 27. That's Paul talking about running the good race. Run as if to win the prize. All right. And I just wanted to speak on both sides of those coins a little bit as we're getting started. I don't know what it looks like for you right now. It's 2021. Yay! But has a whole lot changed in our lives in the last week? Maybe not. Okay, there's a lot of pain that's come with us into 2021 from 2020. And a lot of us are hopeful for what this new year might bring. And I'm hopeful. We always have hope assured in Christ. God's always on his throne. Some might be grieving, some might be joyful, some might have really done well with their businesses. They might be thriving right now because they were able to pivot and move online and etc. Others, you might have lost your business. You might be struggling to feed your children. There's just both sides of the coin right now. And so that verse might hit you differently, to not weary from doing good. Know where you're at. Okay, that's something you're going to hear me saying to you in encouragement repeatedly throughout this course, is know where you're at and be honest with yourself. All right, I might challenge you in some ways. I might be telling you to give grace to yourself in other ways. If I'm challenging you and you're like, but Adrienne, I'm breaking, don't do it, okay? You need more grace. You need more encouragement. So know where you're at. Be honest with yourself, though. Don't just give up. Don't just feel like you can't do it and then have that negative self-talk. Again, more on that on the self-esteem one, okay? And be honest. It's really important that we speak truth, not only to each other, but to ourselves. So when we're planning or when we're trying to improve our lives or our families or whatever you're trying to do and do well and do unto the Lord, be honest with yourself. Okay, what is your best? How can you give your best? Are you breaking here, so you need to give grace there? Okay, so be honest with yourself. Okay. Each, what am I calling it? Each unit, I guess, is going to have 2 to 3 action steps for you. All right, that's it. That's the simple start, practical thing I'm trying to give to you is a way to start. It's not going to be a full thing. I'm not going to do any diet plans. I'm going to address exercise, but that's kind of weighty, right? Because it's not just, if it's just exercise to give you some energy, we'd start right now, right? But exercise has a lot of psychological things to it. Like I shared the other day, if you saw that, our weight, society's impact, how we view ourselves. There's just a lot more to unpack than just say, oh, work out because it's good for you, or work out because you can lose weight, or there's just so much more there to unpack. So we're not starting with exercise. I think that's like unit 6 or 7. Okay. So yeah, I'll go over some of the units I have done, but I keep rearranging a little bit, but these 2 are going to be to start is 1, we're starting on the home. Okay. Cleaning and tidying. For me, it's really important to be able to focus and to be able to do things well. Definitely if it's kind of in my brain or it's for myself or it's planning for something, if there's not clutter and chaos around me. Okay. So we're starting with the home. So you're going to remove clutter. You're going to organize certain things. Again, a start. I'm not going to have you do your whole house. Okay. Take a deep breath. We're starting. Okay. We're going to get good at a few things and then you can take it from there. Next is going to be nutrition. All right. I have a degree in health science, but it's not a degree in nutrition. It's really in depth. We're not going to do any diet plans. I'm just going to give you some, again, practical tips that are working for me and my kids and my family. And again, we will take it. You can take it on from there. All right. I might be giving some, different things that I like to do or use, but we'll see as I'm finishing up writing all of this. Next will be self-esteem. Okay. We're going to clean up the area around us. We're going to get the demand of food under control with a plan. And then you're going to be able to dig deep into your self-talk, to your real self-esteem, not this like, oh, you're the best, you can do anything you want to do. Like, that's not real self-esteem, okay? I'm going to unpack that. Next is going to be healthy self-care. And then I'm not sure what we're doing after that, honestly. Self-care, probably go into sleep. Sleep and exercise are very interchangeable. I'm kind of a self-proclaimed sleep expert, so I have a lot of tips and things to give you there. But again, only 2 to 3 action steps for you at home. Some other ones we have on the list: parenting for littles, marriage. I'm almost celebrated my 10 years of marriage. So again, I've got some things to offer. Okay, in Titus 2, it says, teach what is good. The older should teach the younger. So I'm hoping some of you younger gals are going to be watching this and I can encourage you on your journey as you're starting up, maybe newlywed. I have stuff to say about being a newlywed. That was 10 years ago, but I can hopefully encourage you, impart some of the things that worked or didn't work, or where to give grace to each other along the way. Maybe discomfort management, essential oils, or I've got some other ideas. Joy, Different than happiness, isn't it? Isn't it? All right. There's only one step to that one, actually. A Jesus, right? Okay. Some of them are very faith-based, and some of them are a lot more practical-based. The first two can be very practical for you. So here we go. Your assignment this week. Do a brain dump. Okay, if you have not done a brain dump, I'm going to explain it for you. All right, you will set aside 15 minutes uninterrupted time. Ideally, it's in the morning to afternoon, because most of us, by the time we get to the evening, our brain isn't as sharp. Okay, so I want the little bit more awake brain to be doing this. If it has to be in the evening, okay, that's fine. All right. And what you do is you're going to set a timer for 10 minutes. Okay. And you get a pen and paper, and you will write down, and maybe several different papers. That's how it works for me anyway. You're going to write down everything that comes into your head. And I mean everything. So as you're like, there's a grocery list started, so I'm going to write some grocery things down. Oh, the kids need new shoes, or, all right, oh, what did Adrian want me to do? Husband things. What did I want to get to? And then just, if you're like me and you have teaching ideas, or you have things you want to learn about more. So I end up having like 5 or 6 different pages of things I've jotted down, but literally write down, I thought about this friend the other day. I want to text her some encouragement. Write down the friend's name, maybe what it was about, right? And just write for 10 minutes. Don't stop. Even if your timer goes off, if you're still going, that's fine. Turn off the timer and keep going if you've got the time. That's why I said 15 minutes. A lot of people sometimes go over, definitely once you get flowing. So once the flow is done, you might have to shake out the hand a little bit. You should have some quiet of the brain, okay? So this is not a practice in emptying your mind as pagans do so that you can clear your mind to some sort of existential enlightening stuff. No, I'm not saying empty your mind like that. I'm saying any of the busyness in your mind, the things you're trying to always remember, don't forget this, don't forget that. Get it out of your mind and write it down. Get it on paper so that you can quiet the mind and maybe even hear that still small voice, okay, it says in Psalms, or just be able to feel some calm within yourself, right? That you're not, at least for me, a lot of times I'm like, don't forget this, don't forget, okay, I'll remember that, And then I was like, what was I trying to remember? Like, shoot. And then you can kick yourself. And it's just this awful cycle. Like, let's get it all down, okay? So, let's stop the insanity. There's no reason to torture yourself that way. And also, if you forget something, a lot of times we kick ourselves and we're like, gosh, I'm such a failure. No, you failed maybe in remembering that one thing, or you failed at a lot of things. We fail at a lot of things. That's how we learn. Failure is actually a good thing. There's a fear of failure, which is a big, huge other hump to get over. But you, sweet friend, you are not a failure just because you fail at times. Nobody is good at everything. I know some of us have those friends who are like, she can do anything. She does it amazing. Like, there are those people out there. That's awesome. God has a plan for her. God has a plan for you. Let's focus on you in a healthy way. You're not a failure, okay? We're going to be looking at our strengths and our weaknesses, and it's all good, okay? You were fearfully and wonderfully made. And where you are right now, you're ebbing, you're flowing. It's beautiful. Life is beautiful. Let's cherish it, okay? It's the present, okay? Oh, yeah. We got to understand why, though. We got to understand why we're doing stuff. That's kind of why I wanted to do this whole simple start each by unit. We're going to be unpacking more about what's in our hearts, what's in our brains. Why is it there? It might be a deep dive into some deep pain too. So if you're realizing as you're getting triggered by some of the things I might be saying in some later units, that there's some pain there, I encourage you to see a biblical counselor and talk it out. Therapy is wonderful, and God's, given us amazing, warm-hearted, and wise people that can speak into our lives in a way that really can help us see it from a different angle, or just be a listening ear and let us talk it out. We are social creatures. And especially right now, that's being challenged. And a lot of people, you're breaking for reasons you didn't even know, for things that you didn't know were there, for the pains and aches of human contact that are being stretched. And I feel for you. And it's real and it's valid. So if you need that, maybe you can't still go in person, but a person can listen to you. I know, Zoom and all of it. It's rough. And that's okay to say that out loud. It's valid. It really is. But if you need help, then seek help, right? We are not made to do this life alone. One of the biggest reasons God sent the Holy Spirit, right? Jesus had to die and be raised from the dead, go to heaven and he could send the comforter who is with us, right? That's great. That's great. That's great. Praise God. That's a little, woo! This is why I like to do things live. Sometimes it just gives a little different flavor. All right. Last couple things I want to say. So that's your one assignment. You only have one assignment this week, only one simple start this week. Okay. I'm going to be doing these videos every Wednesday. Next week is the home. I just want to talk on real quick as you're doing your brain dump, maybe start analyzing a little bit. Just be aware of your habits this week. Just be aware of what you do all the time, or if you don't do anything all the time, like pay attention to if you have a morning routine or an evening routine, excuse me, or if your habits are born from pain. So for example, like if your room's always messy, maybe you keep it messy to this day because as a child, your parents weren't super attentive. And so the only time they'd give you direct interaction and contact was to yell at you to keep your room clean, because any attention's better than none, right? So to this day, you feel like you can't even get over that because you're not sure how it unpacks. That's just an example of like you have a bad habit and it has a root in a real need that isn't being filled, but you did it in a negative way as well. So things are layered, you guys. Things are deep. There's a lot of trauma. Even like I had a wonderful childhood, a wonderful mother, lost my dad at age 6. That in and of itself has left me with different wounds and different triggers that are different than you might. Obviously in a 2-parent home or a divorced home, we're all different. And acknowledging trauma, even if somebody else is way worse off, hey, you have trauma too, and that's still valid. So recognize the motivation and recognize if it's a wrong motivation or a motivation that needs tweaked, or if it's a good motivation to do something like clean your room. But then you just have a literal get it done motivation problem, okay? There's a lot of different reasons and roadblocks we have. So maybe starting to just pay attention to some of those, write them down if you're getting any light bulb moments, okay? There's definitely bad or good habits that can come from happy memories too. An example of maybe a not so good habit is, personal habit is we would always have dessert after dinner as a family, and still do. But when last year and the year before, 2019 was really rough on me, I went overboard because I now have my husband. I didn't have my family unit in the same way that I did growing up. There's 5 of us kids, and my mom growing up, we would sit around the dinner table, we'd laugh, tell stories. My sisters and brother are funny, and we'd just have a good time. Sometimes we'd stay at the table and play a game. We'd eat a dessert, ice cream or whatever, and then we'd all go watch a movie together. We were very, very together as a family, unless we had sports or something that night, or a youth group. And when I was in pain, emotional pain, sometimes physical pain, but more so emotional pain, that was such a happy memory for me that after dinner, I'd have a really large serving of ice cream, or I'd say, I don't care. I just like, that felt good. That associates with the brain. You know, there's all these connections, and I overindulged, and I became an emotional eater for a while, which was something that wasn't super typical of me in the past. And it was all born of a emotional trauma. But even though the moment was emotional trauma, bad trauma, I used a happy memory to do something that was unhealthy, right? So just be aware of all these different connections that we have as people, as living, breathing, friend, sister, brother, father, people. And that was not supposed to be a political statement. That just came out. And be honest. Be honest with yourself. Write it down. Prepare your heart and mind to address some things in a healthy way as we go. This will probably last the next 8 weeks, I have a feeling. I'm hovering probably, honestly, around the 7-unit mark. So this would be unit 1, okay? Your brain dump. Be honest with yourself. Know where you're at. If you're immediately postpartum, maybe you're just listening to these, you're writing stuff down for later, you're gonna save this video for a watch later, you know, create a playlist, and give yourself grace, okay? Jesus came with grace and truth, right? And that's our balance, I think. More than work-life balance, we're trying to find that balance between our maturity and truth and the right thing to do and working, all of that, balancing out with grace and gentleness and real life struggle. Because something can still be true, but you don't have to do it in that moment, depending on your circumstance, right? And we're talking, you know, keeping your kitchen completely tidy or whatnot because you just had a baby, right? There's real life circumstances that will affect how your life plays out. Be in communication with your husband, you know, boyfriend. Speaking to the women primarily. Men, hi, if you're here, welcome. Sit in. Shouldn't be anything shocking. But it's important to keep the conversations open, to keep dialogue open. Definitely if you're married, you guys are one flesh, okay? There's something supernatural about a marriage bond and a marriage connection. So if you're hurting, your husband should know. If you're rejoicing, your husband should know, okay? Both good, bad, and in between. Keep that conversation open. Be honest with yourself. I hope you guys have a good week. If this triggered you at all, I'm here for a phone call or just a text or whatever you need. Just let me know. I'm here. I'm not so good at email, so do Facebook Messenger or here in the comments when I post to YouTube. So that's it, lovelies. We'll see you next week.